So now we discuss about the life of Buddha, and last time we talk about uh, the ancient Indian civilization. Formerly, it started with the Indus Valley civilization that we have covered before. We have the early Harappan periods between 3300 to 2600 BC, the mature Harappan periods between 2600 to 1900 BC, and the late Harappan periods occur between 1900 to 1300 BC. And after that was the Vedic periods. That when the Indo-Europeans tribes, the Aryan one, migrate or invade the northern part of India, and that period was considered as the Vedic period, and that Vedic period was divided into two periods. The first one is the early Vedic period between 1500 to 1100 BC, and that's the period of the Bronze Age. And the next one is the late Vedic period, was between 1100 to 500 BC, and that where the Vedic philosophy occur in India. So here, let us go over briefly about the Indian school of philosophy. So on this side, on left side, what they call the Astika, beliefs in the authorities of Vedas based upon the Vedic texts, include the Mimamsa, Vedanta, and the other one is the Vedic text based on the independent ground of Shakya, Yoga, Nyaya, Vaisheshika. On the opposite side is the Nastika, that does not believe in the authorities of Vedas, including Buddhism, Jainism, Javakas, which emphasize on the materialism, and Ajivika, which emphasize on the philosophy of fatalism. That's mean they view we are powerless, and suffering is predestinated. That we talked last time. And so these are the common feature that we talked before too. The Nastika philosophy that did not believe in the authorities of Vedas, and this was considered as the heterodox school. It protests against Brahmanism and Hinduism, especially the idea of the caste system, and they focus less on ritualistic, especially in the early days, early periods of Buddhism and Jainism. They did not focus much on ritualism. and they open to all instead of limited uh, only for the Brahmins to study and decide or helping the authorities on the religious aspect of Hinduism or Brahmanism. Uh, so again, it's also emerged the new philosophical idea uh, as the materialism or the doctrine of the fatalism, karma, and so forth. So we know that background of Indian political history. Now let us move on to the life of Buddha, and let us summarize before we go in detail about his life. So basically, we know that um, before he became Buddha, uh, his name was Siddhartha Gautama. Uh, so he was a wonderful teacher who found Buddhism. But before that, he was a wandering ascetic and religious teacher uh, who lived in South Asia or northern part of India. So here's the map uh, of India and northern part of India here. So according to Buddhist records, he was born in Lumbini, now it belonged to Nepal. Uh, so he was born into a royal families. So his family belonged to the second clans, but later on he denounced his home life to live as a wandering ascetic. Uh, so after uh, 6 years of wandering around uh, as a medicans, uh, he studied with two teachers, but he could not find any ways out for him to recognize liberation or enlightenment. So he went straight to Bodhi Gaya and sat underneath a trees uh, to do meditation uh, for many days. And after that, he become what we call Buddha or enlightened one. So after that, he went around this area to give his teaching to the newcomers or the people, and he established the monastic orders for monks and nuns uh, around this area. Uh, and after 45 years of teaching, he passed away in what we call Kushinaga. And according to his teaching, he provide the middle way between the sensual indulgence and severe asceticism that could lead to the freedom or liberation from rebirth, suffering, craving, and so forth. So his teaching based on the Four Noble Truths, the truth of suffering, and the cause of suffering. That's number two. The three is the end of suffering, and the last one is the path how to end the suffering. That through what we call the uh, Noble Eight Path, and that includes how to train the mind in ethical ways, in the loving kindness way, and in the meditative ways. So that is the general information about the Buddha's and his teaching. And after he passed away, his followers came together to have up to 4 Buddhist council. So the first Buddhist council, they came together to recite orally his teaching. And the second Buddhist council gathered due to the differences among his followers that follow different rules. And the third Buddhist council was considered as the most important one, that was sponsored by the King Ashoka, who unified most part of India and helped to spread the Buddha teaching not only around India but also abroad to Eastern Europe and to the Far East. And according to the Buddhist record, they have the 4 Buddhist council that recite the Buddha teachings and also start to write out the Buddha teaching in Sanskrit and Pali. We will learn that later on. But basically, all Buddha teaching was categorized in the 3, what we call 3 buckets. The Sutra, mostly his teaching, the Vijnana, mostly his rules and disciplines for Buddhist monks and nuns. And the last one is the Abhidhammas, or the analysis or commentaries of the Buddha teaching. So we will discuss about those things later on.